Hi guys, Lisa Alexander here, quantum metaphysician, creator of the Alexander method of vibrational sound and energy therapy, theta healer, and a bunch of other things. Anyway, I'm here, as I promised, to start teaching you how to be your own guru, how to be your own intuitive, how to connect to the higher realms, how to ask your inner self those deep, dark questions rather than running around to readers or coming to me and asking me to channel in the information for you. I love doing that, don't get me wrong, but we empower you by teaching you. And I am a teacher. That's actually what I went to school for. So today I'm going to teach you a little muscle testing technique. Now there are several, okay? I'm going to teach you the one that I use as a theta healer for me personally. There's a different one that we use. You might have seen that, this finger thing. I don't particularly like that. I didn't find that always accurate. There's a very particular way we muscle test in the Alexander method, but that is saved for practitioners only to learn, because we do have to tap into somebody else's energy field to help them and to know what we need to do to assist someone on our table. But this is something you may or may not have already seen or be aware of. If you're familiar with this amazing book, Power versus Force, I've read this twice. Once when I started my journey many years ago, and just like last year. So it's by Dr. David Hawkins, PhD, MD, amazing man, wrote a gazillion books, and this is my favorite. It is now published by Hay House, and it talks all about muscle testing. And what he talks about, he's no longer with us, but he talks about your more traditional muscle testing you may have seen, where someone puts out their arm and you know, someone else either tests strong or weak. Chiropractors use that. What I'm going to show you is something you can do for yourself, because the arm test you need two people. And a lot of times you're just by yourself and you need to know. So in order to muscle test yourself or someone else, the very first thing you need to make sure of is that you or they are very hydrated. Actually, you both have to be hydrated. We are mostly water. Water flows energy, so we have to be hydrated. So I'm going to start with a sip of water because I'm feeling a little dry just from talking and had coffee earlier. Make sure you're really hydrated. That's the first thing. Now I'm going to muscle test myself to see if I'm hydrated enough. I'm not going to say it out loud yet. I'm just going to do it so I can see. Okay, I leaned back. That's a no. That is my higher self, your body, which knows everything, telling me I wasn't hydrated enough. And I asked a very simple question. First I connected to source, and then I asked, am I hydrated enough? And I got a no. So I'm going to drink some more water. Okay, so I just chugged a bunch of water. So let's see if I'm hydrated enough now to do this, all right? Yes. Okay, so as you can already see, leaning forward. Now I'm not pushing myself to lean. So let me tell you a little about what's going on behind the scenes, behind the eyes. First of all, you notice I put my hands on my heart. Now that's not what I was taught in theta healing. That is something I was taught in heart math, because I'm also a heart math practitioner. Science has proven, thanks to the Heart Math Institute and others, there's a lot of other research out there now, that our heart is really where thought comes from. There's all this ganglia in our heart, just like there's in our brain, but there are signals that come from the heart to the brain, and there's actually more signals firing from the heart to the brain than the brain to the heart. So it is, ancient traditions always knew this. I mean, the Egyptians would suck the brain out of the corpse and throw it out because it turns to mush like that when you die, but the heart they'd preserve. So the heart is really instructing the brain, and the brain does what the brain needs to do. The brain's very important. Don't let me minimize that in any way, shape, or form. And where I add in one more brain, that the heart math talks about the heart-brain connection and heart rate variability, but I also add in the gut, because we know a lot about gut health too, and the microbes and stuff think too. So it's kind of a three. To me, it's Mother Earth, and then the connection here, and then Father Heaven. But regardless. So I'm putting my hands on my heart, because in all sacred traditions, if you think prayer, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or whatever, often are touching the heart. Because when we touch the heart, we bring awareness to the heart, and that's where we get our answers from. You simply ask your heart. It knows everything, right? So you can connect to your heart. Now in Theta Healing, we connect to Source through a process. It's a little too long for me to go through today, but in the next video, I'll take you through some of that process to connect to Source. I tend to like to make a combination, me personally, my own cocktail, of the way we do it in Theta Healing, connecting to Source, and the way we do it in Heart Math, connecting to the heart. But basically, you're going to start with making sure you're hydrated. And the other thing that Dr. Hawkins talks about is you can't accurately muscle test until you're vibrating at 200 or above. So what's that mean? So there's this amazing chart, power versus force chart, that talks about where we are in a vibrational scale. So for instance, Americans, they rate vibrating around 200, 240. Someone like Mother Teresa or Gandhi was at like 750, and Jesus and Buddha was at 1,000. And then different countries rate into different areas. Like people in Bhutan, that like the happiest country, are at about 500. And 500 is what they call love or above. But according to Dr. Hawkins, you need to be vibrating at 200 before you can accurately muscle test. And a lot of people aren't. Because if Americans average around that, you know there are people who are below it. And if you had a bad day or there's just a lot of junk going on in your life, you're probably not vibrating that high. I'm going to be honest with you. And then you won't get an accurate answer, okay? And that happens to a lot of people when they're starting out in this industry, you want to call it, the spiritual world. I know even myself, you know, I've made some of those mistakes. So you have to make sure you're in a good place. Don't muscle test if you're in a bad place, because that means you're vibrating low. Make sure it's a good day, you're feeling really happy. The Alexander method of vibrational sound therapy will raise your vibrational frequency rate, without a doubt. And that, if you're a practitioner or a student of mine, you know how to do that. A quick thing to do is go to my website. There's a free chakra clearing with the solfeggio frequencies available for you. It's only 9 minutes. That will raise your vibrational frequency rate. Better still, actually purchase the 24-minute one, which is like $9. That has a lot of the sounds we use in the treatment, and that'll raise your vibrational frequency rate. I've been filming in the last couple of days the how-tos for our class, because now that we can't teach live, right, we got to take a lot of it to the video. So I know I'm vibrating high, but I'm going to ask to be sure I am, to make sure I'm in a good place. I feel it, I kind of know it, and I've been working with the tuning forks, but just to double check, I'm going to ask my heart, and I'm not going to go to source right now. I'm going to go to the source of my heart. Okay, I got a yes. So basically, I'm asking, you always want to ask a yes or no question. So I say, am I vibrating at 200 or above? Yes. Then I asked, am I hydrated enough to do muscle testing? Yes. Well, actually, you got to know in the beginning, right? And then I got a yes. So what you want to do to test yourself in the beginning is ask those two questions. And you just stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. There's a thing about facing north. I'm just facing a light in the window in the studio. It's taking in the nice, really deep cleansing breath. Feeling that breath just kind of coming up your legs from Mother Earth, kind of coming up and just going up to heaven, circling back down to your heart. That's kind of my little trick, my little personal trick in less detail. And then you just ask, am I hydrated enough? Yes. Your body just naturally falls forward, right? And then, you know, am I vibrating 200 or above? Yes. And it's like, the interesting thing is your heart is so intuitive, it knows the answer. Before you even finish the question, it will be answering for you. That's another way to know you're right. There'll be no gap, there'll be no stop, it'll like happen that quickly. The other thing to know about connecting to your heart or source is ask short, concise questions, yes or no if possible. And when your heart or source answers you, there won't be a conversation. It'll be very clear-cut messages. If there's a conversation going on, that's your ego. That's you talking in your head. You know, that's just you're talking to yourself. That is not how the answers come through. Quick, they come through before you're even done, and they'll come in short, concise, you know, yes or no, or do the, you know, whatever. Leave him, leave her, leave the job. Whatever. There's no messing around. There's no conversation going on, right? So you're going to ask those questions, and then you can test it with your name. Very simple. So I'm going to test. Take a deep breath and connect. My name is Lisa. Yes. Okay, that's how you test. Use your name. Now, my name is Sue. My name's not Sue. That's right. My name is Lisa. It's not Sue. So that is one way you can start connecting. And play with that. And in the beginning, make sure you go through that protocol I took you through. That's kind of my own little protocol of combination of different things out there. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you're vibrating high. So to begin with, know that feel like you're in a good place. I'm in a great place. I've worked the last few days with people I just love and adore, my A-team, and we're working the tuning fork, so I knew I was vibrating high. So make sure. I mean, if you want to ask the worst questions when something horrible is going on in your life, you won't get correct answers. I've done that when there's been tragedy in my life, and believe me, I am human like all of you. I have been through a lot of tragedy, loss, and grief, and crap. And I've asked in those situations, and I didn't come up with the right answers. So you have to be in a good place, vibrating high, and be hydrated. So there's your tips. I'll give you more tips and more videos about how to use this more accurately and how to take it a step further. But I think for now you've learned enough. So take this, practice, and you are taking your first step towards being your own guru. So if you like the information that I've shared with you in this video, please, please, please like, subscribe, and share. Let me know in the comments section. And please remember what your mother may have told you, at least what my mother did. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Because we know whenever you throw out negativity to someone else, it'll just come right back to you tenfold. So don't do that to yourself or me. So please like, please subscribe, please follow so you can get more tips and tricks on becoming your own guru.